Welcome to Gustavo Preston's Windows 10 training video. We're just going to go over a couple of new things in Windows 10, things that are different or improved from Windows 7. Most of Windows 10 is very similar to Windows 7, and so you shouldn't have a very difficult time. A few things that have changed is the look and feel. If you can see down here, the taskbar has changed to more of a flat icon. Over here in your notification area, you have this. Once again, you have sort of monochrome icons, black and white. So the first thing we're going to go over is the start button changes. So you notice the start button is now black and white. If you click on it, it's not round anymore, it's back to a square. You'll notice that it looks a little bit different than Windows 7. There's more tile actions. These over here are called live tiles, but we still have our File Explorer and our programs that are recently used or most used, as well as if we want to see all apps, we can go ahead and click down here. So I want to go over a couple of things. The biggest difference is these things called live tiles. What we've got is these are, if you click on one of these, it'll open a program. So if I go ahead and if I open up Microsoft Edge, which is the new Explorer, Internet Explorer, it goes ahead and opens something. So the thing that makes these tiles live is that if you look down here at this weather app, you can see I've actually got live weather. This is for today in Washington, D.C. If I tap on that, it brings up this weather app, and it will show that I can search for a city, show temperature in different in Fahrenheit or Celsius, and so forth. But what happens is when you look at this, you can update the weather. So there are a number of different things that you can do to customize how your life at a glance works. The other cool thing about this is that you can resize these. If you right click on any of these tiles, you can unpin it, which means get rid of it, so we'll try that. So see there, it's gone. On this Cortana, I can resize. I can make it small, and there it goes, small. And then I can also, on some of them you can do wide, which is the two squares wide, and then you can click it and drag it, and you see that I can click and drag and rearrange things. So it's sort of cool. You play with it for a few minutes and get it set up, and then I think basically you're done with that. The other really nice thing about Windows 10 is that they've really simplified a lot of the settings. You may be used to the control panel. That's still there, but it's hidden a little bit deeper, and now we have the settings over here. So our settings allows us to look at things like devices, sorry about that, network and internet personalization stuff. I'm not going to go into details on this, but feel free to explore it. If you have any questions, you can send in a help ticket or ask somebody in the IT department. You'll find that these are a lot easier to work with in many ways than the settings in Windows 7. Another cool thing is if you want to see all of your apps, you just click on all apps here at the bottom, and you see they're listed in alphabetical order. We have recently added up here at the top, and then we have a number of different, A through Z. So one cool trick is if you click on the letter M, you'll see that it'll list all of the programs. So I have a program that starts with X. So if I click on X, it'll take me right to Xbox. If I click on that X and I want to go to K, what do I have named K? KeyPass. So that's a cool way of going through things. So let's say that you're very interested in, like, you want to get something as a live tile, so like this Microsoft Dynamics nav. I use that quite a bit. So I click and hold, and then I can drag it over here and put it on my start menu, and then that way when I click on it, it's right there. Then I can just click and open nav or whatever you want. So this is like a quick shortcut. The other nice thing is that they kept this thing called the jump list. The jump list is a list of your pinned and recent documents. So you see here's a bunch of recent documents I've worked on with Excel, and I can pin those or unpin those. So that is very useful. A thing that is going to be different is how are you log off and how you power down. As you know, we request that you log off at the end of the day. You don't do that with the power button anymore. What you do is you go to the top here where it says your name, and if you click on it, and it says sign out. So you just single click, tap on it, and then you click sign out. I'm not going to actually sign out because we want to keep going. If you click on power down here, you have sleep, shut down, and restart. Sleep is not terribly useful. Shut down or restart is what you're probably going to be doing. So the next thing I wanted to show you is File Explorer. So this used to be called Windows Explorer. They changed the name. This is different from Internet Explorer. They sort of like they like to use the Explorer thing, but this is basically where you can see all your files. So things have changed. Instead of calling, they have favorites still, but it's called Quick Access instead of favorites. And there's a couple of cool new things that we'll go over that here in a second. The other thing is changed. As you can see, it's changed look and feel, but it's basically the same information. You still have your folders that you have access, and then here's all of our network, our F drive and your Z drive, and so forth. So, and you can, if you click on those, double click actually, you can go in and you can see here's all of the different folders in the F drive. Click on this PC. So one new thing with File Explorer is that there's this ribbon. The ribbon does not show by default. There's a button up here that minimizes the ribbon. I actually have it maximized because I like it a lot, but this allows you to do a lot of different things that you could do before. You just had to right click. You can like do settings, you can do the properties of a file or a folder, things like that. So you may find it useful, you may not, depending on what you do. One thing that's really useful, like I said earlier, is the quick access. So I've been a big advocate for adding things to your favorites. One thing that quick access does is it actually keeps a list of things that you visited recently, even if you haven't pinned them, and then you can see right here like accounting, capital reports, and training. Those are ones I've visited recently. The pinned ones are folders that I want to always be there no matter what. So the nice thing about it is I can actually, if I want to pin something, rather than clicking and dragging like you had to do for the favorites, which would sometimes result in files being placed incorrectly. Now what you do is you just simply right click on the folder you want to pin, and it says pin to quick access right here. Go ahead and click on that, and then there we have in development is now pinned. So, and then I can go into click on in development, and there's all my capital reports that are in development. If you right click on it in quick access, I can see unpin from quick access, and there it's gone. So that's a much easier and better way, safer way of accessing your quick access. Alright, so now what I want to do is spend a little bit of time going over some new features. So Windows 10 has a bunch of new features. Some of them we're going to ask you not to use. We're not set up to use them, and some are going to be very useful for you. The first thing is, if you click here on the start button, is Cortana. So Cortana is a voice recognition search engine. It's pretty cool. Most of you don't have microphones on your computers, and so it's not going to be terribly useful for you. So we're basically saying if you want to use it, you can figure out how to use it, and you have a microphone with your headphone, but it's not terribly useful, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. If you want to use it and find that there's a real need for it, then let somebody in IT know. All right. The next thing that's new is the App Store. So the App Store allows you to install lots of different kinds of apps. Uh, so if we ask that you please do not use the App Store to install apps. If you need something installed, let us know and we'll see what we can do. It requires that you have a Microsoft account, so that means, and we don't have one for the company, so you have to sign up personally, and then you have to pay for things personally, and it gets really complicated. Also, a lot of the stuff are games, and we're glad that you like to play games, but not on company computers and so forth and so on. So basically, you want to stay away from the App Store as well. Um, the next thing that's different is over here on the right hand side, there's this notification area. It's called the Action Center. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And some of it has been cut off on the top because of my recording window. But you'll see there's a number of different things that you can do here. You can turn something in airplane mode. That's not useful unless you have a laptop, but you can look at your settings. But also up here it says no new notifications. If there's any kind of notification or error message or alert, it will show up in a list here in this area, which can be very handy so you can know what's going on. So that is useful, the Action Center. The other thing, and I've done it accidentally a couple of times, that's really cool with with Windows 10 is something that's called the task view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a couple of windows. Alright, the next thing I want to show you about the task view, task manager, is if you click on it, if you look over in the bottom right hand corner, there's this button, the plus button that says new desktop. So this is a feature that's been around a long time in a lot of other operating systems, but it's fairly new to Windows. It's called virtual desktop. And what a virtual desktop does is it allows you to have different desktops that have different programs running on them. It's sort of an extra layer of organization or sorting out things. So I'm going to go ahead and click on new desktop. And you see now what I've got down here is I have desktop 1 and desktop 2. And if I hover over desktop 1, you see I have a number of things open. I have a file explorer, I have my recording, snipping tool, Excel. If I go to desktop 2, there's nothing on desktop 2. It's just blank. So a use for this would be I could put all of my Excel spreadsheets on desktop 2. And then if I wanted to, I could come down here and switch over to desktop 1, and this is where my email and Explorer would be. This can be really useful, especially with extra monitors, to have and a way to organize things. You can have different programs open on the different desktops all the times. Feel free to explore that. If you need help, go ahead and send in a help ticket or ask somebody in IT. So the next thing I want to talk about is what's called Microsoft Edge. So Microsoft Edge is the newest browser that Microsoft has put out. It's replaced Internet Explorer. So Microsoft Edge has some pretty cool stuff, which I'm not going to go into. The one problem with it is Microsoft Edge does not work with our version of SharePoint. So if you go into SharePoint for Microsoft Edge, you're not going to be able to edit documents and do a lot of the things that you're used to. So you're still going to want to use Internet Explorer to access SharePoint and other sites like that, things like Eclipse even. Alright, the next thing that is new is, let's see if I can find it here. I'll go into File Explorer, go into this PC, and you can see that I've got quick access, OneDrive, this PC, and the network. OneDrive is new. So this is Microsoft's cloud document storage. We're not currently using this, so you're not going to find it terribly useful for you. There's nothing in there, and we don't have an account. You have to have an account to sign up for it and all that kind of stuff. So we can go ahead and just ignore OneDrive. Alright, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is there's an improved Snap to functionality. If you remember, Snap to allows you to to snap something off to the side like I just did with this File Explorer window. Now you'll notice that the Windows now says, oh, if you filled up half of your screen, perhaps you want to fill the other half with something else. And so it gives you a choice. Right now my only choice is Excel, but if I had an Acrobat or a Word document or something, I could open that. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and look, it says, oh, now you've got two documents side by side. So that's very cool. Once again, I know you can't see the top of these because of the way the recording window is working. So, but this is really handy. If you go off to one side, and now it recognizes that you've got something already over here, so it doesn't really need to do anything extra about it. The other cool thing about the Snap to is now you can actually do quarter screens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, drag, and you can see that little animation fills half the screen. Then I drag up, drag left, and then up. Oops, didn't get it right. Drag left and then up, and now it fills a quarter of the screen. And so I can drag left and down, and then it fills the other quarter of the screen. So now I can put four things on the screen. So that's pretty cool, especially on a bigger monitor, something a little bit bigger than this. The other thing is, and I can't really demonstrate it on this laptop because I don't have multiple monitors, but one of the problems with Windows 7 was if you use this snap to function where you would drag something off to the side, it wouldn't snap to a monitor. You'd have to go all the way to the far left monitor or all the way to the far right monitor. In this case, if you just pause at the break between monitors, Windows will recognize that you're on a monitor, and so you can do half screen on your middle monitor now. So that's pretty cool. Um, so however you want to end up doing that. So right now that is all of the new features that I want to go over with on Windows 10. Once again, there's some cool new functionality that will make your lives a little bit easier, but overall Windows 10 is not a huge change for most of you. If you have any questions, please send in a help ticket or contact somebody at IT. Thank you very much for watching.